Yeah. 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 So many lies that you hear from the net, they don't get her respect. She reporting the truth, not a check. You want an unbiased opinion straight from the chest, not a bit accomplice or someone here for a check. Tune in, these are thoughts from a lawyer on a mission who goes so hard it's like she works on commission. Trolls in the comments might say she tripping cause they lack the knowledge, they don't know they missing. Got a couple current events that you like, wanna know about law from the eyes. Tired of all these blogs running lies because their agendas are disguised. Tune in to the intellect, cause I'm sure y'all missing all the facts of the case that she steady is gifting. Someone here for the people, man, it's so uplifting. If you ain't subscribed yet, then you just omitting facts.
Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. It is Pam Esquire, also known as your law intellect. I know you guys are on vacation tomorrow. It's Labor Day. So I figure we'll do a night court and we will talk about our favorite defendant, Ernest Williams. Yep. Ernest Williams has been hit with a third indictment. And we're going to get into it. I know that on my last live, somebody said, I just love to talk about, somebody different. But it looks like with Ernest Williams, we'll be talking about him for a while. Just when we think we're about to cross that finish line to trial, bam, here comes another indictment. It happens all the time. We have been discussing Ernest Williams since 2023 or 2023. Somewhere around there, he's been in jail for a little bit, but we started talking about him after the Zoom video that went viral. Okay, if you guys don't know who Ernest Williams is, I don't know where you've been, but that is the ex-husband of Shirley Strawberry, who is the co-host of the Steve Harvey Morning Show. And she essentially, it's being alleged that, he was a bigamist. It's being alleged that he scammed a whole lot of people up out of money. It is also being alleged that there was some SA allegations where, the state of Georgia over there in Fulton County, they would like to combine all of these cases because on August 28th, 2025, a grand jury that was impaneled has issued another indictment. So that is what we will be discussing tonight. If you come on in, please make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. For always forever, good to see you. Messy, sassy, Toya, so dope. You say hello, Pam, right before I close my eyes. I got to catch the tea. Listen, it's getting ready. Every time it seems like I hear a jail call and he seems a bit confident, bam, here comes another. Just stop. I would just stop talking. I wouldn't say anything about this case on a phone call, a video visit. I would advise the people that are out here trying to windmill on my behalf, just don't say anything. And we just going to let the process do what the process does. But it just seems like every single time, here we are. This has happened. George Janae, thank you so much for the super chat. Miss T said, Freedom said, not so fast, Nestos. Darlene said, thank you for all that you do to bring the intellects to facts. Yeah, this is interesting because I was literally just looking at my flights and trying to look at my calendar and see, am I going to go to this here trial? But the way it's looking, it probably won't be a trial coming in November, especially if the judge agrees to consolidate these cases, which is a motion that was filed by the state on the same day this indictment came back. This just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. Y'all hit that like button for me so everybody know that we on at 10 o'clock for night court. Why did this take 3 years? I don't think it took 3 years. They are slow rolling this thing out like the red carpet, though. I don't know. Toya said this is my mind-boggling. Mind-boggling. I can't see. So if he was just indicted on the sexual assault claims where he literally was just arraigned, like last month, they already got those two cases paralleled on the same track. So when that occurred, I'm like, there's no way that SA case was gonna go at the same time because he literally just got arraigned. So I knew that probably wasn't gonna happen. But the RICO for all of the bigamy and the other financial allegations, there was a high chance in my mind that it was gonna go. I was like, okay, that might actually go over there, in September. I mean, what was that? November. I said that might actually go. But now we have a whole other indictment as well. Not as lengthy, but nonetheless still an indictment. You know? Well, Love the Shop 112 said, I nearly twisted my ankle when you're like, hey, thank you so much for supporting the platform. I appreciate that. Hey girl, good to see you. So look, it's a lot of y'all in here already. So let's just go ahead and pull up this here indictment. Yeah, there is a SA charge as well. That's in a whole nother indictment. We went through that a while ago. So I'll probably just try to post the indictment videos on the end of this video just in case you all need to catch up. But as you all know, I didn't go to the last hearing. Of course, it was a lot of shenanigans. It's always a lot of shenanigans. But Sylvia did record it, and the part of Shirley Strawberry, I did go over that in my membership. We went over that. So I never really went over that out here. There were other content creators that had already went over it. So I was like, I'll just do it with my membership because I wasn't, wasn't present for that. And there were content creators that did put in the work. But yeah. Christine Leach, good to see you. Houston Foodie said maybe they'll wrap everything in a nice bow. That's what they're trying to do, it looks like. But we'll see. But anyway, here's the indictment, y'all. I'm gonna put these names on here. Y'all ready for this? In the name and on behalf of the citizens of Georgia, do charge and accuse Ernest Williams with the offense of identity fraud pursuant to OCGA section 16-9-12 sub A sub 1 for the said accused individually as a person concerned in the commission of a crime in Fulton County, Georgia on or about March 15, 2022, willfully and fraudulently without authorization and consent used and possessed with intent to use the name of Amanda, identifying information concerning a person by causing a lease agreement for a residence located over there at 980 Pine Grove Road. Y'all know about Pine Grove in Roswell, Georgia, to be fraudulently notarized using Amanda's name, contrary to the laws of said the good order, peace, and dignity thereof. If you guys have followed this case, there was a motion, I believe, to dismiss, and there was another motion by the state of which they attached various documents. And I believe this allegation about Amanda saying that was her name, but that was not her seal, that was being used to notarize documents. That was a part of some documents that we saw before. So we have seen that. I might have to pull that up. And the grand juror aforesaid in the name and behalf of the citizen of Georgia do charge and accuse Ernest Williams with the offense of forgery in the first degree for the said accused individually and as a person concerned in the commission of crime in Fulton County on March 15, 2022 with the intent to defraud, knowingly made and possessed a fraudulent notary seal stamp in the name of Amanda, a writing other than a check in such manner that the writing as made purported to have been made by Amanda and by authority of Amanda, who did not give such authority, and uttered and delivered said writing contrary to the laws of said state, the good order, peace, and dignity thereof. Count 3. This again was on March 15, 2022. The grand jurors aforesaid in the name and on behalf of the citizens of Georgia do charge and accuse Ernest Williams with the offense of theft of services pursuant to OCGA section 16-8-5 for the said accused individually and as a person concerned in the commission of a crime in Fulton County, Georgia on and between March 15, 2022 and June 6, 2022, so around that arrest time, by deception and with the intent to avoid payment, knowingly obtained services, accommodations, and the use of personal property, which were available only for compensation by entering into a lease agreement with Mark Crow. Y'all remember him? He is the owner of 980 Pine Grove for a residence located at 980 Pine Grove Road, Roswell, Georgia, which included the use of furnishing and appliances, and which included services including landscape maintenance, pool maintenance, and termite protection, by entering to said lease using a fraudulent trust as the purported tenant and providing false information on the lease, and by failing to pay rent for the lease, including by uttering and delivering 2 bad checks to Mark Crow, and the services, accommodations, and the use of personal property, which were the subject of a theft that exceeded $24,999.99 in value, contrary to the laws of said state, the good order, peace, and dignity thereof. So this would be the one where people were saying it was civil. Remember, I was talking to my prosecutor friend, and my prosecutor friend, this doesn't make sense. I thought this case was over because all of this is civil. None of this, all of this is civil. None of this is, none of this should be brought because there's nothing illegal about any of this stuff. It's supposed to be maintained in civil court when it has something to do with a lease. Well, according to the citizens of Georgia that was on that grand jury, they said that there is probable cause to believe that it was not civil. Okay. They said it's probable cause to believe that he committed this crime, albeit he is innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, as you all know. Thank you, Miss Bees, who said, continue. Thanks for the updates on Nesto. Of course. Thank you for the super chats. That is what she said. I am not going to say any names, you know what I'm saying, about who said it or who did not say it, but it was said that this was a civil situation. All right, let's move on. Because I'm not here to be messy. I'm just here to read the document. Okay? All right. So we got count 4 of 6. And the grand jurors aforesaid in the name and on behalf of the citizens of Georgia do charge and accuse Ernest Williams with the offense of deposit account fraud pursuant to OCGA section 16-9-20 for the said accused individually and as a person concerned in the commission of a crime in Fulton County, Georgia, on or about March 22nd, 2022, made, uttered, and delivered a check number 0099 written in the amount of $13,000 to Mark Crow, an instrument for the payment of money on Wells Fargo Bank in exchange for the present consideration of rent for a residence located at 980 Pine Grove Road in Roswell, Georgia, knowing that said check would not be honored by the drawee, contrary to the laws of the state, the good order, peace, and dignity thereof. Again, that is related to the alleged civil matter over there on Pine Grove. Okay. Let's move on to the next count. All right. What are we on? Count 5? Count 5 of 6. And the grand jurors aforesaid in the name and on behalf of the citizens of Georgia do charge and accuse Ernest Williams with the offense of forgery in the third degree pursuant to OCGA section 16-9-1 sub D for the said accused individually and as a person concerned in the commission of a crime in Fulton County, Georgia, on or about April 6, 2022. So that was a few months before he was arrested, with the intent to defraud, knowingly made, possessed, uttered, and delivered counterfeit check number 5611 written in the amount of $13,000 to Season Comforts Heating and AC using the fictitious juror name of Black Heritage Radio Association. Remember, that is exactly who was on the lease because that is on the eviction papers for that residence. And the fictitious drawee name Urban Trust Bank, and in such manner that the check as made purported to have been made by an authority of Urban Trust Bank who did not give such authority, contrary to the laws of said state, the good order, peace, and dignity thereof. And lastly, count 6 of 6. And the grand juror aforesaid in the name and behalf of the citizens of Georgia do charge and accuse Ernest Williams with the offense of deposit account fraud pursuant to OCGA section 16-9-20 for the said accused individually and as a person concerned in the commission of a crime in Fulton County, Georgia, on or about April 6, 2022, made, uttered, and delivered check number 5611 written in the amount of $13,000 to Seasons Comforts Heating and AC, an instrument for the payment of money on Urban Trust Bank in exchange for the present consideration of HVAC system replacement for a residence located at 980 Pine Grove, Roswell, Georgia, knowing that said check would not be honored by the drawee, contrary to the laws of said state, the good order, peace, and dignity thereof. That is the latest indictment for Ernest Williams. Sassy Experience, thank you so much for the super chat. She said, Pam Esquire, I'm not here to be messy, Pammy Pam, but I'll knock all this tea over. Sonia Cochran might want to take CEU and civil versus criminal. Now, they do overlap, but unfortunately for you, you cannot choose when the state decides to just let it go for civil. But you have assault in criminal, you have assault that you can sue for in a civil sense. You have people that may sue you for insufficient funds, but then you may have people, the people the people, the state that decide that they're going to get you because that is against the law. Okay. So while it may be civil, it can also be criminal. Okay. So hopefully that is a lesson that we have learned by this indictment. Apparently, like I said, maybe they are deciding to clean up loose ends because this is all information that we learned about. So we learned about Amanda in the alleged forged notary. We learned about that as a exhibit, I think, to one of the documents filed by the state. And we also learned about the whole 980 Pine Grove is what started the whole domino effect. Like it started all of this. Sis1, thank you for the super chat. You said thank you for this timely update backed by docs. You know, that's what we got to do. Toya So Dope said Fulton County is letting all of the air out of Nesto's trumpet. Every time we hear a phone call that says, I ain't worried about it, I'm about to get out, I ain't even worried about it, I know I'm getting out soon, something happens every single time. I just wouldn't even say anything. I would just relax. I would discuss the scenery that my girl done seen through the day since she's staying in a camper or RV. We would talk about what we ate. And that's it. That's just so I can know what's going on in the outside world. But I would never. And then I would advise everyone up, please don't talk about my case. I appreciate your support. But I said this 2 years ago. I said all of this discussion about this case is going to backfire. It's not going to benefit your case. Do not try this case in the media. We don't know you. At the end of the day, if you get found guilty of anything, you're the only one that's going to do that time. After a while, as a person that does wrongful convictions or deal with people that's in prison, after a while, a lot of them have the same story. They may have one or two ride or dies that thug that thing out, but a lot of times they move on with their lives. Okay. I'm not saying that's going to be your testimony, but I'm just saying you need to worry about you and your. Don't let nobody tell you not to take good deals because everybody else don't even have to do your time. You're the only one that has to do it. That's all I'm saying. So hit that like button now because as you guys see, there is a third indictment. The state wants to make things easier on themselves. And so they have also, the same day this indictment came down, they also filed this motion to join all three indictments for trial. This is why I said I didn't believe that the trial was going to go on because was going to go in a couple of months because, well, I guess in theory. So let's think about this. Now, the essay, that just seemed a bit rough, but it ain't like he didn't know about it. He did know about it because we know they were allegedly looking up the girl and where she was at and pictures and riding in cars, and it was conversations on jail calls and all of that. So we know that there was a knowledge. This didn't just hit him like by surprise. These allegations additionally were known because it kind of started the domino effect. We heard about the whole Pine Grove. We knew about that. And this is where the whole civil, this shouldn't be out here, this is civil, but he was never charged with those. That's what I didn't understand with that whole argument and theory, was that he was not charged with that. This is the first time he is being charged. It's like they waited till the end or something. Like, oh shoot, let me just throw this in here too. Yeah, Monica, another indictment. Another indictment. All right, so let's read this here. The state's motion. So this is the state of Georgia versus Ernest Williams, aka Ernest Lavelle Williams, aka Nesto. This is the state's motion to join all three indictments. Comes now the state of Georgia, by and through the undersigned counsel, and moves this honorable court to join three of the defendant's indictments for trial. It is well settled that multiple charging instruments may be formally consolidated or joined for prosecution and trial. That's in Higdon v. State, 291 Georgia 821 at page 825, and it's a 2012 case. Trial courts have discretion to join multiple indictments for trial when, quote, the offenses are based on the same conduct or constitute a series of acts connected together, or when the acts constitute parts of a single scheme or plan. And that's over there in Borough v. State, 258 Georgia 841 at page 843, which is the 1989 case. And you can also see Jackson v. State, 309 Georgia at 796 at page 799, which is a 2011 case, for all of you legal scholars that like to do research and make sure that it says what the state says that it says. The offenses charged in the three indictments that are the subject of this motion constitute a series of connected acts and are all part of a single scheme or plan. The court should therefore join them for trial. On April 23rd, 2024, a Fulton County grand jury returned a true bill of indictment. The RICO indictment is what we'll call that, charging the defendant with 40 counts of interrelated theft and fraud offenses, nearly all of which made up a pattern of racketeering activity committed by the defendant between at least December 1st, 2009 through June 30th, 2022. For the purposes of depriving numerous victims of their property. So that was the common plan. That was the purpose of the alleged RICO. On August 28, 2025, just the other day, 3 days ago to be exact, a separate Fulton County grand jury returned a true bill of indictment. We're going to call that the strawberry indictment, charging the defendant with one count of identity fraud in violation of OCGA section 16-9-21 for fraudulently using Shirley Strawberry's identifying information to purchase the Ford F-350. That's an Exhibit A. Strawberry indictment. On the same day, the same Fulton County grand jury returned a second true bill. Oh, it was two in one day? Oh, shoot, I missed one. We got to go over that. That with one count of identity fraud in violation of OCGA section 16-9-121, one count of forgery in the first degree in violation of OCGA section 16-9-1B, one count of theft services in violation of OCGA section 16-A-5, two counts of deposit account fraud in violation of OCGA section 16-9-20, and one count of forgery in the third degree in violation of OCGA for crimes committed related to the fraudulent lease of a residence located at 980 Pine Grove. So they're trying to combine these two that just came down and the RICO, it sounds like, because all of those are interrelated. The offenses charged in the RICO indictment, the Strawberry indictment, and the 980 Pine Grove indictment constitute a series of connected acts, and the acts charged in each indictment constitute parts of a single scheme or plan. Accordingly, the court has the discretion to join them for trial. All of the offenses charged in the Strawberry indictment and the 980 Pine Grove Road indictment constitutes acts of racketeering activity that are part of the same pattern of racketeering activity alleged in the RICO indictment. Moreover, all of the evidence supporting the charges in the Strawberry indictment and the 980 Pine Grove Road indictment would be admissible intrinsic evidence supporting the racketeering charge in the RICO indictment. See Harris v. State, 310, Georgia, 372, 377, which is a 2020 case. And then they got it attached, so we're going to have to look at that one. Finally, nearly all of the witnesses that would be called by the state to testify at the trial at the Strawberry indictment and the 980 Pine Grove indictment would also be called by the state and offer essentially the same testimony at trial of the RICO indictment. Accordingly, joining the three indictments for trial is not only appropriate, but necessary to promote judicial efficiency, eliminate redundant proceedings, avoid duplicative testimony, and conserve judicial resources. For the reasons set forth above, the court should join the RICO indictment, the Strawberry indictment, and the 980. Baby, it was 4 indictments. I'd have missed an indictment. Shoot, I gotta change my caption. My God, today. It was 4 indictments, y'all. I missed it. Okay, Sassy said freedom is coming by way of 6 men slow walking a pine box in St. Peter's, horn tooting, I'll fly away. Oh, that's not nice. Thank you for the super chat. Love the shop. Thank you for the super chat. You said he kept playing with God, talking about blowing St. Peter's trumpet and hell-bound mess. There is nothing biblical about that mess. It irks me. I can tell by the way you said that, honey. Thank you for the super chat. Sexy RN said, free way to support the channel. Come out the bushes and hit that like. Amen. Freedom is coming. I'm nosy and messy. Freedom is coming. I missed the whole indictment, y'all. See, I was moving too fast. I only saw one on there, though. I wonder if they put that. See, that's what happens when you're sitting up here trying to write and prepare for a doggone trial in a couple of weeks, and you just busy all weekend. But I got y'all. I'm about to pull this up. Let me make sure, because they had the names of these people, and I want to put it on here. Oh, okay. It's just one count. All right. So let's pull that up. It was one count. Hey, Tyrone. Good to see you. Tate said, I bet he hates strawberries. You know what? Because do I believe eventually, regardless to whether, because if they say in 2009, she didn't marry him till 2018. So some of these allegations are before she even was married to him. So I believe that he would have eventually been caught anyway. Like some of this stuff just would have came out, like period. Because some of this they're alleging it's been going on for years, even before her. But I don't think it would have got this type of attention that it's getting if he wasn't married to her. So yeah, I agree that it was a catch-22. You thought you may have hit you a lick to be in certain circles, be around people. We heard from certain people like Hazel, who said her alleged story, and she was saying, people talking about protecting Shirley and who he was married to, and I gotta make sure that you all good because of who I'm married to. And then Erica, as much whether you want to believe what she gotta say or not, Erica King, when I talked to her, she said that a lot of stuff was to protect Shirley and everything was about Shirley. So I think that connection and being in certain circles, he benefited from it. He knows that he did. But now the same thing that you benefited from is the reason why a lot of people talking about this. Okay. Paula Key said, I had so much to catch up on. Thank you for the super chat. No, they weren't married in 2015. That's about when he got out of prison, isn't it? When he get out of prison? I don't remember. I don't. No, I think it was 2018 because they were married. What they were talking about being married 7 years or something coming up or something like that. I don't know. I gotta look, child. I have to double check. But let's read this count. This stuff starting to blend together. I done talked about it so much. In the name and behalf of the citizen of Georgia, do charge and cause Ernest Williams with the offense of identity fraud pursuant to OCGA section 16-9-12 sub A sub 1 for the said accused in Fulton County, Georgia, on or about January 28, 2020, willfully and fraudulently, without authorization and consent, use and possess with intent to fraudulently use the name, date of birth, and social security number of Shirley Strawberry, identifying information concerning a person by applying for credit and purchasing a Ford F-350 vehicle in Shirley Strawberry's name without her knowledge or consent, and said crime was unknown until at least July 7th, 2022, contrary to the laws of said state, the good order, peace, and dignity thereof. So I guess they are alleging that Shirley didn't know that that car was in her name and that how he procured the car and that he used her name, her birth date, her social security number until he was arrested. And then all of that went down where the truck got impounded and she was the only one that could go get it. And then she realized, she said, I thought the truck was paid up. And then she had to pay for the truck. Then he had to teach her how to put the tags on it and all of that stuff. Mm-hmm. And this also will go towards the state's argument on standing, because remember they weren't just arguing. Ernest Williams filed a motion to suppress the search of the F-350. The state responded to that motion, but then they also filed a motion to dismiss, saying that Ernest Williams lacked standing because he procured this based on fraud. So this basically solidifies and confirms for the state by putting this in front of a grand jury and them saying probable cause again, still innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. But I don't know if the state would have even filed this, but for the motion that he filed and everything attached to that. But anyways, this is his fourth indictment because he got two indictments on the same day. I was gonna say I wonder what he thinks, but we're not gonna know. They don't talk on the phone anymore like they used to before they found out the cause can be released pursuant to a FOIA. And then Exhibit B was the indictment that I just read. Was that the only? Yeah. Exhibit B was just the indictment that I just read. Aaliyah said, this is all from Sonia's advice. I told you I am not about to sit up here and be messy. I'm just trying to give the information as alleged in these indictments. So now I have to change my little thumbnail in order to show that it was actually, this is the fourth indictment. It was four that were brought down. So I know, Shirley. I know you cannot believe you married him. I know what you thinking, sis. You just keep on keeping on, okay? Just keep on keeping on. Kiki in DC said Coach got Nesto looking at life behind bars. I don't know what to say.
get down on Wilson. Nesto.
I don't know.
I get down on Wilson. Nesto.
Bad day for Ernest Williams. Well, that's it, y'all. That's all we got. New indictment. Make sure you hit that like button. I know, Shirley. I know you cannot believe, as classy as you are, your name is wrapped up in indictments. I know. I know, sis. I know. You cannot believe that while you were up early in the morning trying to bring us the latest news, trying to keep R&B alive, laughing at Steve Harvey's corny jokes, that your husband allegedly was out here spreading it low and spreading it wide and picking up things that didn't belong to him. I know you cannot believe that white truck that was sitting outside your residence, that you eventually was evicted from. I know, sis, you can't believe it was your truck and you didn't even know. You didn't even know that it was your truck out there, that you will ultimately be responsible for this truck. I know, sis. I know. I don't know what to say. I don't know what else to say, y'all. I don't know what else to say. I don't know. That's what they alleged. You said justice for Shirley. Love to shop said that raggedy oil leaking piece of junk. I don't. Miss T said that 5-book series he's writing just turned into a whole library full of books, Fire and Desire, volume 1005. I don't know how they gonna do it, but we about to see. We're gonna see. We're gonna obviously keep our eyes on this case. Again, he is innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. But yes, if you are just coming in, first of all, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Thank you all to all of the new subscribers. We've been out here working this week since I took about 2 weeks off. I've been trying to work really hard every day almost. Okay. Because I owed you all. But we will keep up on this case. Joy said it had 200,000 miles on it. I don't know. Mrs. C said, I wonder if all those documents and bank records they asked Sonya to turn over have anything to do with this. Well, I don't think so. Well, who knows what that led to, but the Pine Grove residents, we knew about that initially. Like that was where all of this started. Remember when I first started, for those of you that are new here, I got the actual complaints and they said it all started from him. And this is what Sonya was saying. She thought it was civil because it all started from the landlord talking about the rent not being paid. And that's all she heard was the rent not being paid. Apparently, she didn't hear that the lease was forged, allegedly, that the police can't, well, the owner's wife, I think, took all of the license plate numbers and stuff from the people, from all the cars and motorcycles in the driveway, and some of them came back that he wasn't supposed to have the motorcycles. Apparently she missed that the checks was insufficient. Apparently she missed that some signatures and some notaries were there that weren't. So all she heard apparently was, this is a civil matter, like it goes to landlord tenant court for him not paying rent. He's never denied staying in that home. He's never really denied that I know of. And I don't think that he can, because if you go on Google, what is the name of that? Hold on. I'm about to, let me see. Let me show you something real quick. What is the name of that address? On Pine Grove, over there on Pine Grove, 980 Pine Grove. 980 Pine Grove. Okay. Oh, the 2000. Mm-hmm. 2022. Hold on, I'm trying to see something. What was the other address? It was another Pine Grove address as well. I'm up here trying to look at Google Map. Hold on, y'all. It's taking me too far down the street. Hold on. Relax, Google. I don't want to put these people. What's the date of this? Yeah, that wouldn't be his. So I don't want to put these people's information on here. It's a nice house. But Shirley did testify she's never lived there. So I have to look for it at another time when I'm prepared to do all this extra stuff, because some of this got actual people on this. I ain't trying to put them on here like that. You said text PCFP and ask if they can drop some tea off. Oh, 990. Okay, wait a minute. Let me go to 9. No, yeah, 990. Hold on. 990. Because remember, one of them was supposed to be Erica. And one of them was Nestos. I don't got it on here. Hold on. One of these actually had Nesto's one of his security things in the driveway. Anyway, I don't think he ever denied actually living in or whatever. I don't know what he was doing, living, storing, whatever he was doing in that house. He never really denied it, to my understanding. But anyway, Shirley did testify that she never lived there. You said Sonya sank his battleship. Mm-hmm. Thank you guys so much for the likes. I appreciate that. Sexy Irene said, Uncle Dre, we know you're in the bush. Just come on. We miss you, Dre. Huh? We miss you, Dre. Those were some very funny conversations that you had. We miss you. Come on up. Oh, he denied it and said he just kept his vehicles there. Okay. I mean, so he's saying he didn't own it at all. I mean, obviously he ain't own it, but you know what I'm saying. He didn't rent it out. Is that what he's trying to say? But if you keeping your vehicles there, you're not keeping your vehicle at a random person's house, are you? Yes, he got new charges. He had 2 indictments. One count, the Shirley Strawberry indictment for allegedly using her. Let me pull it up for y'all. For those of you that just came in, I didn't even know until I was almost done that there were 2 indictments because I only saw one on the docket. But apparently, this is why it was good to read everything that was on there because I was able to see that. Okay. So, hold on. That's not what I'm looking for. Shoot, I'm mad I even paid for the other one separately. That is what I'm looking for. Okay. So we have Exhibit A. This is one count. So the grand jury selected chosen as one for the Fulton County of for the county of Fulton to wit, in the name and behalf of the citizens of Georgia, do charge and accuse Ernest Williams with the offense of identity fraud pursuant to OCGA section 16-9-121 sub A sub 1 for the said accused in Fulton County, Georgia, on or about January 28, 2020, willfully and fraudulently without authorization and consent, use and possess with intent to fraudulently use the name, date of birth, and social security number of Shirley Strawberry, identifying information concerning a person by applying for credit and purchasing a Ford F-350 vehicle in Shirley Strawberry's name without her knowledge or consent. And said crime was unknown until at least July 7th, 2022, contrary to the laws of said state, the good order, peace, and dignity thereof. So that is the one count indictment that came down. And then we have a 6-count indictment that came down as well, which has in the name and on behalf of the citizens of Georgia do charge and accuse Ernest Williams with the offense of identity fraud pursuant to OCGA section 16-9-121 sub A sub 1 for the said accused individually and as a person concerned in the commission of a crime in Fulton County, Georgia, on or about March 15th, 2022, willfully and fraudulently without authorization and consent, use and possess with intent to use the name of Amanda, identifying information concerning a person by causing a lease agreement for a residence located at 980 Pine Grove, Roswell, Georgia, to be fraudulently notarized using her name, contrary to the laws of the state, the good order, peace, and dignity thereof. So count 1 is taking the identity of Amanda, who is a notary, and using her stamp, or maybe a replica of her stamp. And the grand juror aforesaid, this is count 2, in the name and on behalf of the citizens of Georgia, do charge and accuse Ernest with the offense of forgery in the first degree, pursuant to OCGA section 16-9-1 sub B, for the said accused individually and as a person concerned in the commission of a crime in Fulton County, Georgia, on or about March 15th of 2022, with the intent to defraud, knowingly made and possess a fraudulent notary seal stamp in the name of Amanda in a writing other than a check in such manner that the writing is made purported to have been made by Amanda Johnson and by authority of Amanda, who did not give such authority, and uttered and delivered said writing contrary to the laws of the state. Count 3, the grand jury on behalf of the citizens of Georgia charge and accuse Ernest Williams with the offense of theft of services for the said accused individually and as a person concerned in the commission of a crime in Fulton County, Georgia, between March 15th, 2022 and June 6, 2022, by deception and with the intent to avoid payment, knowingly obtain services, accommodations, and the use of personal property, which were available only for compensation by entering to a lease agreement with Mark Crow for a residence located at 980 Pine Grove, Roswell, Georgia, which included the use of furnishing. So it came with some furnishing, some appliances. The property was kept up with landscaping. Apparently there was a pool that was being maintained and termite protection. They made sure you didn't even have bugs on the premises. By entering into said lease using a fraudulent trust as the purported tenant, you said it was a trust that was living there and providing false information on the lease, and by failing to pay rent for the lease, including by uttering and delivering two bad checks to Mr. Crow, and the services, accommodations, and the use of personal property, which were the subject of the theft, exceeded $24,999.99 in value, which is contrary to the laws over there in Georgia. Then we have count 4. Now, these are basically the ones of which it was alleged that it was civil. These are the ones that she said was civil. And the grand juror aforesaid in the name and on behalf of the citizens of Georgia do charge and accuse Ernest with the offense of deposit account fraud for the said accused individually and as a person concerned in the commission of a crime in Fulton County, Georgia, on or about March 22nd, 2022, made, uttered, and delivered check number 0099, written in the amount of $13,000 to Mark Crow, in instrument for the payment of money on Wells Fargo Bank in exchange for the present consideration of rent for a residence located at 980 Pine Grove, Roswell, Georgia, knowing that the said check would not be honored by the drawee, contrary to the laws of the state. Okay. Let's go on. I'm just rereading the counts because some people apparently just came in and they were asking the question. So I said, well, let's just reread it because I read it so fast in the beginning. So that was count 4. We have count 5. The grand jurors, in the name and on behalf of the citizens of Georgia, do charge and accuse Ernest Williams with the offense of forgery in the 3rd degree for the said accused individually and as a person concerning the commission of a crime in Fulton County on April 6, 2022, with the intent to defraud, knowingly made, possess, uttered, and delivered counterfeit check number 5611, written in the amount of $13,000. Now, was this the same? Wait a minute. No, that's Urban Trust Bank. Because I'm like, Wells Fargo, that check was 99, and then we jumped to 55,611, but those were different banks allegedly. So the counterfeit check number 5611, written in the amount of $13,000 to Seasons Comforts Heating and AC, using the fictitious drawer name Black Heritage Radio Association and the fictitious drawee name. So they're saying everything was fake. The drawer and the drawee. Name a Urban Trust Bank and in such manner that the check is made purported to have been made by and by authority of Urban Trust Bank, who did not give such authority, contrary to the laws of the state, the good order, peace, and dignity thereof. So it's trying to get some free air conditioning, according to them, without paying. And the grand juror, in the name and on behalf of the citizens of Georgia, do charge and accuse Ernest with the offense of deposit account fraud for the said accused individually and as a person concerning the commission of a crime in Fulton County, Georgia, on or about April 6, 2022, made, uttered, and delivered check number 5611, written in amount of $13,000. Is that a different? Yeah, that's the same check. Written in the amount of $13,000 to Season Comforts Heating and AC, an instrument for the payment of money on Urban Trust Bank in exchange for the present consideration of HVAC system replacement for a resident located at 980 Pine Grove Road, Roswell, Georgia, knowing that the check would bounce, 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 bounce. Contrary to the laws of said state, the good order, peace, and dignity thereof. Those are the additional 2 indictments that came down on August 28th, 2025. And now, because these are all kind of interrelated, DA Wooten is requesting, ADA Wooten is requesting that these indictments, these 2 indictments, be combined with the RICO, which would make sense. So maybe it'll still go forward because I think most of this information was known. We knew about it. So I'm sure he knew about it and his attorneys knew about it. So there's that, guys. You said Erica told it all. Listen, Erica got in and got out. She said she was eating cereal out of the soap bowl. She is suffering from, I think she has MS. She said, I want to plea. She was begging to plea. I don't even care I want to plea and I don't want to go back to jail. What can you do for me? That's it. I can be on probation for 20 years. I want to plead. And I want to, what do you need from me? What do you want from me so that I do not have to eat any more cereal up out of these bowls? She's like, what do you need exactly? Because I'm willing to what? So Erica is over there, won't hear nothing about Erica. We don't hear anything about Erica. Erica, so how it started out with Erica is she was getting a sweetheart deal, okay? They were gonna get her times. Well, Wooten, I don't know what information she gave, but Wooten was like, okay, cool. She agreed to the sentence and she pled guilty to everything. So she's a convicted felon. They didn't drop anything. She was concerned about the sentencing. She wasn't really concerned about the actual charge, like what she was convicted of. She ain't care. She just didn't want to go back to jail. So at first, they weren't going to, they agreed not to give her any time. She wasn't going to have restitution. She was going to have non-reporting pro. It was like deferred or something. Like it was a sweetheart deal. I know she jumped. And then the judge said, I can't agree with this. And we were all interested. It was very flabbergasting because some content creators already, were saying that the judge wasn't going to accept it. And I was like, well, how they know? But the judge was like, I'm not accepting this. And then her attorney said, well, what do we need to do? What would you require? I need some, he kind of showed what he would accept, kind of. So they worked it out where she got reporting probation. I think she did have some restitution. And she got like 9 years, I think, but a probation. But yeah, she was gonna be out here. And I remember asking her, I said, are you gonna testify? She said, if they want me to, I sure am. No, she said, I'm a victim too. We did everything to protect Shirley. I'm a victim too. Y'all remember that? I did a whole little interview with her. Tyrone said Erica know that she was going to testify against Nesto when she out of jail. That was part of her plea. Well, she gave statements. Like when we look at the discovery, it looks like she gave statements immediately when she got arrested. So she wasn't even trying to fake the funk like she had some type of underworld loyalty for anybody. She said she is a church, God-fearing woman. She said she was married to a deacon. She said she does not want to be in jail. This is not where she at. She's supposed to be an usher on the usher board. Okay? And she cannot be like Ernest with these phone calls. She wasn't feeling this right here. She wasn't feeling this.
Please hold. Hello, this is a prepaid call from Nesto. An inmate at the Cobb County Adult Detention Facility. To accept this call, press 0. Your current balance is 20.
She said, won't be me. That's what she told me when I talked to her. She told me, won't be me. I said, she didn't even fake it. Like, no, I'm not gonna. She was like, yeah, I'm telling. Cause I'm not eating no more cereal out of no soap dishes. I was like, okay, sis. She was like, look at my ankle. Look at this. She had an ankle monitor on. Yeah, Nesto said he's an innocent man. He did. He said he's an innocent man and he gonna prove it. And if he can prove it, I'm gonna report it. Okay? I'm gonna be impressed. You said he literally could have married Shirley and been faithful and he would have been on easy. Exact, because she didn't require much. She said he didn't come home hardly. She didn't get in his business. Police knocking on the door. She's like, I don't know anything about his businesses. Evicted out of a spot, getting your wages garnished, and you still with him. I mean, he did have it made now. Shirley just seemed like, she's probably of that age where she wanted a companion. She said she wanted a companion, that's all. He fumbled the bag. I think she's a nice person too. And she look good for her age now. Shirley is not playing with you guys, okay? Them pictures she's showing her little belly and everything. She said, don't get it. She messed up. She messed up one time. But she said, don't get it twisted. She's still that girl. That's what she said. Let me see if I got the copy of the check. Here's a copy of the check. So that's one of the checks that they hitting them for right there. Return reason, not sufficient funds. Joy said we need a phone call about the truck when he gave her bogus excuse of it not being paid off. I mean, he didn't even really give an excuse. He talked and she was like, I thought you said the truck was paid off. I was on my way, because I was gonna trade it in and get the what's the name, and and it was gonna be, but and the so and so. She said, oh, he said, you get me, you understand now? You understand? She was like, yeah, I understand. I'm like, well, at least one of us does, Miss Strawberry, because I don't understand nothing he talking about. He talking in freaking circles. What is he saying exactly? But hey, that was her husband. As long as she understood, I guess that's all that mattered. I wanted to be like, no, actually, I don't understand. Let me see. So this was all when the evictions was happening. These is all the text messages and all of that. Or this with the house and child, was a lot going on. We went through a lot over here. I'm up here trying to look at my Nesto file. So we get off of here. That's the lease. Mm. The motion to dismiss. Sure, some good things up in there because I was a 50 pager. Okay, so this was the marriage certificate. This was the one for the first wife. Hold on. Y'all hit that like button and subscribe. We just doing extra stuff right now. We going. So this was the marriage license from the first wife that said that's Edith. And they said they couldn't find any divorce. This was the application for the marriage. Let's see what he says. So Ernest Williams, he said he was married to Martha. He did say that. Uh, so this is their marriage license over there in DeKalb. So this was Martha's marriage license. Mm-hmm. This was 2001 when Martha married Martha Jean. Got Martha Jean. There go Martha Jean again. And then this one is the application. Is this for Shirley? Hold on. Shirley. Number of previous marriages, he said 3. How was each marriage dissolved? He said is divorce. He said South Carolina in 1988, Atlanta, Georgia in 1994, and Decatur, Georgia in 2010. Now, who are you even talking about? Mm-hmm. So he's saying he divorced. I guess it would be, he's saying he divorced Edith in 1988 in South Carolina. I guess he's saying he divorced maybe Martha too. But anyway. So that's the marriage license. That's him and Shirley. Oh, you was right. It was 2015. I don't know where I got 18 from. Sorry. Have to correct myself. January 9th of 2015. Yeah, I guess they got divorced about a year. They were saying it was 8 years or something when all this stuff happened. So then this was the final decree for Martha. This was Shirley's complaint for divorce. And this is her final decree. Those were her walking papers. And that's all the divorce information on there. All right. So that was right. You were right, whoever told me that. My bad. I thought she was married. Until I don't know where I got 2018 from. Okay, the motion to suppress. They had some stuff in there too. Yeah, this was 277 pages. So let's see. Y'all hitting that like button. Y'all, you guys ain't got no work tomorrow. We can go over here and corroborate the information over there in this new indictment. Okay. There go Nesto and Erica. This is the vehicle title for, that's the truck. No, this is Melody stretching. This is Melody scratching stuff. This is the incident reports from Melody scratching. We went over that. His booking sheet with all of his 5,000 names. Case report. This is Melody Scratching's incident report. I was trying to see. Thank you, Lakeisha, for the Cash App. I appreciate it. Let's see. Olivia Washington. I think this was one of the cars that were in the driveway. Remember, it was Harley Davidson's up in the driveway. Just a lot going on. This is Olivia's phone interview. This is Regina Delaney. Remember, we went over hers as well. Regina Delaney was one of the ones that tried to go to the police, but you had Nesto was being represented by Erica King, who was posing as a lawyer. And Erica won that case against Delaney, where I think she got arrested. Let's see. Yeah, they did false representation to the police. Because the police didn't believe her. She wasn't telling her story as good as Erica was telling Nesto's, apparently. Child, that's a lot of pages. I was just trying to see the... See, I told this was Erica's letterhead. Y'all see this Goldberg Sutton LLP? This was her letterhead. Hey, Pam, question. How did Westlake get the truck back from the Roswell PD to repo it? That's a good question. I don't know. I don't have the answer to that. Yes, Black Rose said that's crazy. The fake lawyer won the case. Yes, she won. She won. She was good at what she did. No, sorry, the incident report. These are all the exhibits that were attached to the state's response to the motion to suppress. This was the warrant that Regina Delaney was trying to get. This was her first. This is Erica's first entering her appearance as April Holloway at Goldberg Sutton LLP. April Holloway, when she talked at the sentencing, she apparently lives, she's licensed in Georgia, but she lives in Texas. So she primarily is in Texas. So I wonder if, like, somehow Erica knew this. So this is Erica. She looks so different, doesn't she? This is Erica on the screen, but Ernest is saying he didn't know that she wasn't a lawyer. Starfish said there was a young man who was a fake lawyer in Nigeria, won all his 26 cases and not a day in law school. You know how to research and apply the facts with the law. I mean, you have that potential. It was a guy that was accused of something similar around here, and he won some and lost some. But you know what that meant? The ones he lost, when they found out that he wasn't supposed to be practicing unauthorized practice of law, then that warranted a new trial for those individuals that lost, even though he won some trials for people as well. For Always Forever said Erica is very intelligent. She should have just kept on the straight and narrow. Why waste her talent? It makes no sense. I don't know, but she was also married to the comedian Shorty, because he was in my chat one time and he said one day he's going to tell his story. And I was like, oh, and when you want to tell your story, we the intellects will welcome you with open arms. Yeah, Shorty the comedian. He was like, one day I'm gonna tell my story. He was married to Erica, and he alleges he got bamboozled. Now, people thought Charleston White was on one when he talked about this whole situation. He was the first one to call all of them out before any of this happened, and everybody kind of dismissed him. But apparently, he was on to something. Yes, with open arms, we will let you come over here, and you can tell your story. This is a no judgment, a judgment free zone. So the application for the warrant after Erica King, who was posing as April Holloway, appeared, it was denied. So she won that. Okay. She actually won that case for Nesto. And then they just pull up all these different cases against him. All these people, I guess, that sued him. I surmise. We have a Drusilla over there in Fulton County, who said the defendant borrowed $3,700, interest secured after 30 days in the amount of $5,000. So she said it was a breach of contract, and that was over there in Fulton County. And then we had, see, they got into the double letters because there was so many exhibits. Jasmine Collins. They came to an agreement. Mr. Williams agrees to pay restitution in the amount of $15,000. Payment will be $5,000 a month for 3 months. First payment must be mailed by Monday, November 2nd. Mailed to, and they got the name of who the attorney is. Make money orders to Jasmine Collins. So she actually, I guess she got some type of judgment against him. And this was September 24th of 2015. So yeah, this would have been the same year that Shirley married him. Okay. And this was all of the indictments before that they combined and put it into one for the with the RICO. We got Juan Smith. He said, theft by deception. Ernest Williams deceitfully swindled me out of $10,000 by creating a false impression of liquid assets and perpetuity, a myth of financial stability. So he got on March 14th of 2018, we got someone who was basically saying he told him he was going to help him out and he was going to have his future was going to be bright and financially free, and he took his $10,000 allegedly. This is the lease that is the subject of the one of the indictments that came down the other day that we went over. This is the lease. Candy Relaford, remember, and James Relaford. That's really Erica King, and I guess her man. I don't know. And this was the lease was January 12th, 2022. Start January 15th, 2022. Okay, so that is the lease over there at 990, which is, I guess, where she was staying. And because remember, Erica was living next door, but her name is Candy over here, allegedly. This is the search warrant for 990. Okay, so this is the lease pertaining to this indictment. The Georgia Standard Residential Lease Agreement made March 14, 2022, in between Mark Crow, and it had the mailing address, and Black Heritage Radio Trust as the tenant. And they have the occupants are Ernesto Williams, Shirley Sheridan Strawberry, Sheridan Jewel Strawberry, and two minor kids, 7 and 12. They're going to use it as a residential dwelling and an office. The furnishing is to be furnished with the following items: conference table, 10 chairs, side cabinet, grand piano, coffee table, two chairs, and two reclining chairs. It has appliances. They have dishwasher, disposal, full-size refrigerator, gas cooktop, built-in microwave oven, and vent hood small-size refrigerator. The tenant was to pay the landlord in equal monthly installments as follows. The first 2 years was going to be $6,500 for rent. The next rent shall increase 2.5% yearly. So by the third year, $6,662.50. Fourth year, $6,829. And the fifth year was going to be a $7,000 even. The rent was supposed to be due every 15th of the month and paid under the following instructions. Tells you the check number and all of that. They have a penalty of $150. Sheesh. Late fee. There was a prepayment rent in the amount of $6,500 for the term starting on March 15, 2022. Parking shall provide parking spaces to the tenant for a fee of no dollars. I would hope so. That's a bit much. Mhm. There's no smoking on the premises or the common areas. You can't have any pets, but you can use a waterbed. It says a landlord does have a manager on the premises that can be contacted for any maintenance or repair. So did the manager never come to the house or something? Saying. So this is the lease that is the subject of one of the indictments that came down the other day. And print name Sheridan. So this was the if you guys have been watching phone calls from prison, there was a conversation between Shirley and I think Nesto, of which there was an allegation that Sheridan was going off, said that some stuff was signed in her name. So she went down there and talked to the police. So they must have showed her this, that her name was actually signed on here. So it has tenant signature on here. Then it has print name Sheridan Strawberry. You can tell the same person that wrote this. And then it got Ernesto Williams, and it was March 15th. So then this is the next one. This is part of the indictment as well. Amanda, September 7th of 2022. She said that notary is fraudulent. Attached is a copy of my actual seal. So that's that. There's that. This was a part of the current indictment. This is one of the checks, 0099. And these are the invoices with the return checks from Black Heritage Radio Trust with Mr. Kroll. Total $32,980. You just let them live there for free. That's a lot of money. And then this was the eviction notice. And this was Erica basically threatening Mr. Crow for trying to put him out on her letterhead. Here's a picture. Hold on. Got the ambulance on there and everything. Hold on. Basically, the picture showing him being there. So the police told him that they needed to take pictures of all the license plates. So they were actually in the driveway taking pictures of license plates. So there is the ambulance that they were talking about, that he was letting the women drive and it broke down. There's the Bentley. 1, 2, there's a couple of motorcycles. So it's showing them actually taking pictures as he was told to do by the police. You said people sleeping on water beds. I remember when I got a water bed in junior high, I thought I was grown. Man, I always wanted a water bed and never got one. By the time I could afford it, they were out of style. So there were new indictments that were all fraudulent theft based, which ties into the same indictment that has the 40 count. And so the state is arguing that they should all be combined. I thought they were trying to add the SA charge. I'm like, I don't see how that's working, but I see now when they said 3 indictments, I originally assumed at the beginning of this live that it would have been the SA charges, the current theft charge from the 28th, and the RICO indictment with the 40 counts. However, I didn't know till I was reading the motion that they actually had a 1 count indictment for Shirley Strawberry. So they're trying to combine all the financial related type claims together, which will probably happen. So that is, I told you she was over there threatening them like, I seen you trespassing. She alleged criminal trespass. Because remember, she was also Elaine Mormon. Okay. This is for the F-350, I believe, because we were like going over the price and like, what? No, this is the Benz truck. Okay, so this is the 2021 Benz truck. Nesto Elite Private Security. June 30th, 2022. So that was what? About a week before I went to jail. Purchase price was $189,165. This was the hotel. Now I think this might have been something that they were able to get from Sonia, if I recall correctly, the hotel receipts. All right. So anyway, we went over those documents related to today's or the most recent two indictments. That's what it's looking like. All right, y'all. We've been on here for an hour and a half. Now I'm supposed to be on here 45 minutes. Any questions? It's almost midnight. Make sure you hit the like button. Thank you for all of you guys that came in. Again, there were two additional indictments that came down. One was for 1 count, one was for 6 counts. We went over that twice in this here video, so you'll catch it in the beginning and probably in the middle. We also went over some of the documents that the state is using to corroborate their claims. Again, he is innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. You all have a good night. Thank you all again for coming over here and watching your girl. And I'll holler at you next time.